We're joined now to talk more about this from Capitol Hill. California Congressman Ted Lieu is with us. He, of course, serves as the vice chair of the Democratic caucus, and his district includes much of western L.A. County. Congressman, I'm very grateful to have you on the show today. Thank you very much for being here. One of your colleagues in the House, Congresswoman Yvette Clarke of New York, she said today that what we're seeing on the streets of Los Angeles, the sending in of the Marines, is impeachable, that the president could be impeached for that. I want to know if you agree with her.
It's certainly un-American, and as a veteran, it sickens me that the president wants to send Marines against Americans. And let me first say, peacefully protesting is an American right. Now, looting, burning cars, and destroying property are crimes, and people who do that will be prosecuted. People do have the right to peacefully protest, and state and local officials have said they have all the resources they need to handle the situation. There's no reason to send in the Marines who are trained to kill the enemy. What does the administration want them to do in Los Angeles? Shoot protesters? It is insane.
Congressman, Republicans are, of course, claiming that they are the party of law and order in all of this. And one Democrat, Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, had a warning, if you will, for those on your side of the aisle. I want to show you what he said, and then I'll ask you about it. Take a look.
We should have learned the lesson back in 2020. Absolutely, there was righteous outrage over what happened to George Floyd, but that never means that you can support or be quiet if there's destruction or rioting and destroying and looting and those kinds of things.
So he used the phrase, "we should have learned the lesson." What do you say to Senator Fetterman?
I think Senator Fetterman may want to look at the statements that the Democratic elected officials in Southern California have been making. We have all been saying that the right to peacefully protest is protected by the Constitution, but no one has a right to destroy property, to commit violence. Those are crimes, and those people will be prosecuted. We've been very clear about that. Now, in terms of law and order, I just want to note the legal provision Donald Trump is relying on to deploy the National Guard under 10 U.S.C. Section 12406, he is violating the law, because that provision very clearly says that the governors of the states have to give the order, and Governor Newsom clearly didn't do that. And this is very important. I ask every National Guard member to read their orders, read the law, and then decide for themselves if they're following an unlawful order.
Congressman, do you think that Governor Newsom could have done a better job in preventing violence than he did?
No, because Governor Newsom has directed the CHP to go on scene, which they have. The LAPD is on scene. And by the way, I have this very important point I want to make. The National Guard's mission is to protect federal buildings and federal officials. So let's take the burning of cars. Even if the National Guard was all there, which they were not, there's nothing they could have done because that is not part of the mission. So of the 2,000 National Guard folks deployed, 1,700 are basically standing around doing nothing. And then to send additional Marines to do nothing is a waste of $134 million of taxpayer dollars. The president needs to rescind both of these orders.
Congressman, we, of course, have discussed, and President Trump has, and those around him have suggested various things about the use of the Insurrection Act. How should Democrats respond if President Trump does invoke the Insurrection Act?
If President Trump invokes the Insurrection Act, he's doing it unlawfully. If you look at what's happening, these are situations that local law enforcement and state law enforcement are trained and can handle. You don't want the president deploying federal troops all over the place simply because there might be some folks who are looting stores. That's something for local law enforcement to handle, and you don't want all 50 states subject to Marines showing up in their local jurisdictions. That's authoritarian, it's un-American, and it would be illegal.
So what should Democrats do about it?
We should do what we're doing right now, which is push back to sue. Governor Newsom has in fact filed a lawsuit saying that what Trump is doing is illegal. I agree with Governor Newsom. If you just read the law, the president is violating his authority and abusing his power. And the situation really calls for local law enforcement. This is a law enforcement issue. The United States Marines are not trained in law enforcement. That is not what they do. It's a total mismatch for the mission and a waste of taxpayer money.
All right, Congressman Ted Lieu, I'm very grateful for your time today, sir. Thanks very much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.